reality. It spends most of its existence in the dark. We only get to see it during brief moments of illumination.
Let's carefully watch this video together and learn from it.
I was on a long phone call this morning, so I was pacing back and forth in my kitchen, right in front of my refrigerator. And while on the call, I realized something. When most of us imagine the inside of a refrigerator, we picture it with light on, bright, everything visible. Meanwhile, from the refrigerator's perspective, darkness is the prevailing reality. It spends most of its existence in the dark. We only get to see it during brief moments of illumination. Yet, somehow, our minds store that exception as the default. And instantly I remembered a psychological phenomenon called the selection effect, realizing we do the same thing with life. I thought about weddings. Imagine asking different people to describe the same wedding. A guest will probably say it was beautiful, there was music, joy, laughter, and so on. But if you ask a caterer, they'll probably say it was pressure, it was timing. They could even say it was chaos. Same event, same venue, but very different selection. This just informs the fact that one of the most invisible forms of power in life is selection, because people don't respond to everything. They literally can't. Life compresses everyday phenomenon so that you can only respond to what reaches your awareness. That's why two people can grow up in a city and develop very different perspectives concerning opportunity. That's why arguments are difficult, because we always assume that others were shown what we were shown.
Now listen to this. The whole truth about anything doesn't come to the passive mind. It doesn't arrive with the loudest headline or the most repeated rumor. It must be assembled. And the first move is to admit something uncomfortable. And what is that? You are only ever seeing a slice. Your mind, your news, your circle, they are all selection machines, curating a comfortable reality just for you. Now, the critical shift isn't to deny that bias. It's to use your awareness of it as a compass. Let it whisper to you constantly, what's missing from this picture? Whose direct experience haven't I heard yet? Now, this is where most of us get stuck. We treat a single puzzle piece, our own piece, as if it were the whole image of the whole reality. We argue our piece against another person's piece as if one of them must win by all means. But the thinker who truly sees reality lays every piece on the table and asks this question, not who is right, but how do these fit together into something larger than any of us could see alone. And that is the reason you must become a cartographer of truth and not a lawyer. A lawyer selects evidence just to win. A cartographer wants the most accurate map of the terrain, because only an accurate map lets you walk through life without stumbling. Borrow perspectives deliberately. Seek the internal logic in views that you oppose. Ask what the world must look like for that person's story to make sense to them. Whenever you can, walk upstream to the source, to the eyewitnesses of life, the direct knowers, not those who simply rehearse what they've only heard. Now, this is what I call the Luke principle. He didn't go collect gossip. Luke interviewed those who had touched and seen. For anything that matters to you, you must do the same. Find the ones who have lived it, not just the ones who have opinions about it. Then comes the sacred, sometimes painful, work of assembly. As you lay out all the pieces gathered from many eyes, a mosaic starts to form. Independent voices will converge on the same core shape, and there you know the ground is solid. But when you find a piece offered to you, often loudly, often by someone you love or respect, that simply will not settle, you push and the whole picture strains. You force it and the coherence of everything else breaks. When a piece requires you to ignore multiple well-attested truths just to keep it there, you are holding a square peg over a triangular hole. It isn't always a lie. Sometimes it's a misunderstanding, a metaphor taken too literally, a wish mistaken for a fact. But you honor the whole picture, not the single piece. You have the courage to set it aside, quietly without contempt. You let the picture stand as it is. more integrated, and more whole without it. Now, access to the whole truth isn't a prize for being the smartest or loudest. It's the fruit of a quiet discipline. Gather the scattered pieces from direct eyewitnesses, hold them up to the light together, and trust the whole they reveal. When you live by that, you stop arguing fragments and start navigating reality itself. And that is your greatest advantage in any matter. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Do well to put this to practice. Remain lifted. Stay blessed. Not a time. Bye for now.